In a land ruled by dinosaurs, life seems peaceful. Gentle plant eaters graze under the sun. Mothers guard their eggs, and the air feels calm. But peace never lasts for long. A playful young dinosaur wanders too close to the nests. One mother nudges him away before he can harm an egg. Moments later, he spots a bird and bolts after it, chasing it deep into the forest. And there, he freezes. From the shadows, a massive Carnotaurus emerges. Eyes locked, jaws ready. It charges. The little dinosaur runs for his life, the predator's pounding footsteps shaking the earth. They burst into the open, straight into the herd. Panic erupts. Dinosaurs scatter in every direction. The Carnotaurus crushes a nest beneath its weight, then snatches a weaker dinosaur and devours it in seconds. In the chaos, another predator steals an egg. It tries to crack it open and fails. A second predator appears, and the two clash violently until the egg slips away, bouncing into the sea. Currents carry it past hungry creatures, even a giant crocodile-like beast that just misses its chance. The egg keeps drifting until a bird swoops down, seizing it and flying far across the land. But when the bird lands in its nest, other birds attack. In the struggle, the egg slips from its grasp and tumbles down, landing on an island of monkeys. A family of them stares at the strange shell in awe. Among them is Plio, with her children Suri and Zini. She steps forward, curious, but her father Yar, the troop's leader, warns her to stay back. Plio ignores him and leans closer. Suddenly, the egg begins to crack. Everyone gasps as a baby dinosaur emerges. Fear crosses Yar's face. He reminds Plio and the others that dinosaurs are dangerous predators who have attacked them before. Plio tries to calm him, saying this one is just a baby, too small to cause harm. But Yar insists the baby will grow, and one day it will be big enough to threaten them all. He orders Plio to get rid of it immediately. Knowing her father's heart is good, Plio hands the baby dinosaur to him and asks him to do the deed himself. Yar climbs a tree, ready to throw the baby down. But then he looks closely at the tiny eyes, and something softens inside him. At that moment, Plio approaches him and suggests they keep the baby, care for it, and teach it to live like them, eating plants, not meat. And that's exactly what Plio does. She raises the dinosaur alongside her children, cares for him, and names him Aladar. After some time, a massive dinosaur appears, chasing 3 little monkeys. He runs after them until he catches one, and it looks like he's about to eat it. Then he corners the other 2. But at that moment, we realize this dinosaur is actually Aladar. He hasn't eaten the monkey at all. He was just playing with them. From a distance, Plio watches them, unable to hide how happy she is to see them playing together. She approaches him and tells him that the mating season has started. She asks him to bring her son Zini from the shore. Without hesitation, Aladar sets off to find Zini, who is busy practicing, hoping to be chosen this season. Then Aladar takes Zini with him, and together they head off to attend the gathering of the monkey leader. At the same time, Yar speaks to all the male monkeys, sharing advice on how to choose the right partner for the mating season. Meanwhile, Plio gathers the female monkeys, guiding them on how to find the right mate. A little later, Aladar arrives and calls everyone together to start the mating season celebration. And so, the celebration begins. The monkeys dance with laughter and joy, clearly having the time of their lives. When the celebration ends, Aladar notices Zini sitting alone. He looks heartbroken. He hasn't found a partner. Aladar walks over and tries to comfort him, saying, "You'll definitely find someone next season." From a distance, Yar and Pleo watch the scene. Yar turns to Pleo and says he feels sorry for Zini. He's the only monkey who hasn't found a mate among them all. Pleo replies, "He's not the only one. I wish we could find someone for Aladar too. I'm worried. There aren't any other dinosaurs like him on this island." Then Pleo approaches Aladar. She speaks softly, saying she just wants to see him happy and start a family of his own. But Aladar smiles and replies, "That's not something I'm thinking about right now. For me, living here with all of you and being happy is enough." And at that moment, while they're still talking, a cluster of meteors streaks across the sky. All the monkeys watch in amazement, their eyes fixed on the strange glowing shapes above. They don't know what they are or why they've suddenly appeared. Then one meteor comes closer, much closer. They realize it's actually a massive rock, hurtling straight toward the sea. It crashes into the water right in front of them, exploding with a deafening blast. Panic spreads among the monkeys. They scatter, desperate to run for their lives. But the meteors keep coming, closing in, threatening to wipe them all out. Aladar bolts forward. He reaches Suri just in time, pulling her away before a meteor crashes down near her. Without hesitation, he grabs Yar, Pleo, Suri, and Zini and runs as fast as he can. He dashes through the forest, heart pounding, the fiery rocks trailing close behind. Then he reaches the edge of a steep slope just as another meteor hurtles toward them, forcing him to leap straight into the sea. At that moment, a powerful wave crashes in, sweeping the monkeys away and pulling them far from him. Aladar fights against the current, desperately trying to reach them, but he can't. After a while, the meteors begin to slow down, then finally stop. That's when Aladar manages to rescue the monkeys, pulling each one out of the water. By now, he's completely exhausted. When he looks back toward the island, his heart sinks. It's gone, burned and destroyed. A deep sadness shows on all their faces. They mourn every monkey lost in the disaster. After some time, they decide they must leave and search for a new home. It's a long journey, and eventually they arrive at a strange, barren desert. There, they freeze in shock. A pack of fierce, meat-eating dinosaurs surrounds them, closing in on Aladar to attack. Aladar bolts, running for his life, but the predators chase him, attacking with brutal force. And just then, Yar nearly slips off Aladar's back, but Balim lunges forward, catching him at the last second. Suddenly, fierce winds rush in, howling through the air. The predators hesitate, then turn and flee, disappearing into the distance. At that moment, Aladar notices something unexpected. A massive herd of plant-eating dinosaurs moving toward them. Leading the group is their commander, Kron. He storms over to Aladar, barking orders to move faster and clear the way. So Aladar steps aside, blending into the herd, his eyes widening in awe. Towering dinosaurs of all shapes and sizes surround him, each more massive than the last. But then he spots the predators again, closing in fast. With no other choice, he stays with the herd, using their numbers to escape. A while later, the herd moves through tall, rocky mountains. Kron turns to his second-in-command, Bruton, and says they'll stop here for the night and continue at sunrise. Bruton raises his voice, calling out to the herd. They'll rest until morning and move on as soon as the first light appears. At that moment, Aladar spots two dinosaurs, Ema and Baleen. He approaches and asks, "Where are you headed?" Ema smiles and explains they're traveling to a safe, beautiful place called the nesting grounds, far away from the savage Carnotaurus that want to hunt them. Baleen adds that Kron, the leader of their herd, is harsh and ruthless, the kind who wouldn't hesitate to abandon the sick or weak dinosaurs like them. Just then, Kron arrives with Bruton by his side. They come closer, and Aladar steps forward to introduce himself. He asks Kron if they can slow down a bit so the weaker and sick dinosaurs can keep up. Kron laughs in his face, mocking him, saying the sick and weak deserve to die. Then he turns and walks away. Moments later, Kron's sister, Nira, approaches Aladar. She warns him that Kron has a quick temper and treats all newcomers the same way. Her tone and the way she looks at him show she's clearly impressed by him. Aladar returns to his friends and says they must follow Kron's lead. It's the only way to stay with the herd and stay safe from the predators. Meanwhile, those predators watch them from a distance. The next morning, the herd wakes and begins to gather. From another angle, we see Kron again, clearly in a bad mood. He walks right up to Aladar and orders him to move faster. Just then, Zini leans over to Aladar and says Nira, Kron's sister, is beautiful, perfect to be his mate. But Aladar ignores him and keeps walking. And on the way, Kron told Bruton that part of the herd was moving too slowly. They couldn't afford to slow down or stop for anyone, no matter the reason. At the same time, Bruton warned the herd that no one would drink water until they reached the lake on the other side of the mountain. He made it clear if they didn't move faster, the ruthless Carnotaurus would catch up and tear them apart. The herd pushed forward, picking up speed. But after a while, the scorching heat and lack of water took a heavy toll. Step by step, they struggled on until the ground beneath them turned to mud. Then, one dinosaur stumbled and collapsed from exhaustion. The others kept moving, leaving him behind. In that moment, the predators appeared and attacked. The next day, the herd was worn out from the long, hard journey. Suddenly, two Carnotaurus appeared in the distance, stalking them from behind. Finally, after a grueling trek, the herd reached the far side of the mountain. They were overjoyed. The lake was near. But their joy turned to shock. The lake had completely dried up. Kron immediately ordered Bruton to take his assistant and search for another water source, while the rest of the herd kept moving. Nira stepped forward, telling Kron they couldn't continue without water. Half the herd would die before they got anywhere. Kron's reply was cold. Even if half the herd had to die, the other half would survive. Meanwhile, Ema felt deeply sad. She told her friends that long ago, water was everywhere around them. But now, she couldn't keep living like this. Aladar went over to comfort her. He encouraged her, saying they had to keep moving forward. As they walked, Aladar suddenly heard a strange sound coming from beneath the ground. He quickly told Baleen to step aside. Then he started digging where the sound came from. And suddenly, water burst from the hole. Aladar, Baleen, and the monkeys were overjoyed. They called out to Ema to come drink. Aladar made loud calls to get the herd's attention, urging them to come and drink too. But as the herd approached, Kron stepped forward and blocked their way. He drank alone, refusing to share the water. At that moment, Aladar tried to organize the herd, and nearby, Nera watched him closely, understanding exactly what he was doing. Elsewhere, Bruton and his assistant searched for water. Unbeknownst to them, a fierce Carnotaurus was watching from a distance. Suddenly, two savage Carnotauruses appeared and charged, attacking Bruton and his assistant with full force. Back with the herd, Aladar gently calmed the young dinosaurs, helping them drink from the water. From afar, Nera watched, clearly admiring him deeply. She stepped closer, and soon they were talking. Aladar told her they couldn't just abandon the sick and weak and keep moving forward. Nera sighed, explaining it wasn't their choice. They had no real option but to continue the journey. But Aladar's words began to change her mind. In that moment, it became clear they both felt something special for each other. When the monkeys saw Aladar and Nera together, they were thrilled, because maybe Aladar had just found his life partner. Elsewhere, Kron stood watching from a distance, his face tight with anger. Suddenly, Bruton's assistant arrived, rushing to warn Kron that the savage Carnotauruses were very close. Kron snapped back, refusing to believe it, saying the predators had never come this far before. He guessed the meteors must have driven them out of their homes. Then, the roar of the Carnotauruses grew louder as they approached. Furious, Kron yelled at the assistant, blaming him for revealing the herd's location. Without hesitation, Kron ordered the herd to move quickly before the predators closed in. At that moment, Aladar and Nera approached Kron. Aladar asked him to wait, just long enough for his friends to prepare and move safely. But Kron refused, coldly declaring that some must be sacrificed so the rest could survive. Turning to the herd, Aladar called out, telling them to wait for his friends, because one day it might be them left behind. Kron's anger exploded. He charged at Aladar, knocking him down, and threatened to kill him if he ever interfered again. He blocked Nera from helping Aladar, dragged her away, and stormed off. Aladar quickly rose and ran to warn his friends. He told them the Carnotauruses were dangerously close. Without wasting a second, Aladar and his friends took off, running for their lives. And then, at night, the wild Carnotaurus dinosaurs arrive at the herd's resting spot. They drink from the water and prepare to continue their journey. Meanwhile, not far away, Aladar and his friends walk slowly, all alone. Because they move so slowly, the herd is far behind. Suddenly, a strange sound comes from a nearby cave. Aladar approaches and discovers Bruton, the injured dinosaur who can barely move. He decides to help him join the group. Bruton insists he doesn't need help and knows what's happening. He tells Aladar to leave him behind and go on. But Aladar refuses. He says that if Bruton doesn't come now, they'll have to find him in the cave later anyway. At that moment, a strong storm breaks. Rain pours down as the sky opens. Aladar sees Bruton standing still in the rain and rushes to bring him inside the cave. Then, Pleo arrives and begins treating Bruton's wounds using plants found inside the cave. She asks why Aladar helps the sick and weak dinosaurs, even though their fate seems sealed. She wonders why he even tries. Bruton answers with hope. He explains that Aladar's actions aren't false hope. Death will come for everyone eventually, but giving up now means the end. He says it's important to forgive and keep moving forward, even when things feel hopeless. And on the other side, the wild Carnotaurus dinosaurs grow closer to the cave. When Aladar hears their heavy footsteps and sees them approaching, he quickly wakes his friends. Suddenly, the fierce Carnotaurus burst into the cave, attacking swiftly. Aladar tries to shield his friends, but the predators surround him, closing in with snarling faces, ready to strike. Just then, Bruton appears and pushes the attacking dinosaurs away. He tells Aladar to run with the others. Everyone knows Bruton is trying to scare off the wild Carnotaurus. So, Aladar and his friends dash deeper into the cave. When Bruton can't find another way to stop the predators, he starts pushing a huge rock, forcing it to fall and block the cave's entrance. The rock crashes down, sealing the cave and separating Aladar and his friends from the wild Carnotaurus outside. Bruton is trapped beneath the fallen rocks, stuck with the predators beyond. In that moment, Bruton chooses to sacrifice himself so the others can survive. But he remains brave. After the cave collapses, Aladar rushes to Bruton's side. But sadly, Bruton has died. Aladar feels a deep sorrow for his loss. Suddenly, Aladar notices one of the wild Carnotaurus is still alive. Without hesitation, he gathers his friends and they quickly make their escape. Meanwhile, the surviving Carnotaurus crawls out from under the rubble, determined to take revenge on the dinosaurs who killed its brother. At the same time, Aladar and his friends reach the cave's end, only to find the exit blocked by huge rocks. Aladar tries again and again to break through, but despite all his efforts, the rocks won't budge. Hours pass, and Aladar begins to lose hope. Then, his friends gather around him, encouraging him, refusing to give up. They tell him they will find a way out together. With renewed strength, they all start hitting the rocks with great force, working as a team. Finally, they break through and reach the safe ground outside the shelter. They cheer and celebrate, joyful and full of life. After a while, Aladar looks back at the broken path he made and sees a tall, thick wall blocking their way. Impossible to pass through. He decides to return to that broken part once more, before the wild dinosaurs catch up to them. The group traveling with Kron reaches the massive wall. Kron tells Nira they'll have to climb it at first light. Nira is surprised. Most of the herd doesn't believe they can scale a wall that high. Meanwhile, Aladar steps out of the cave and spots the wild Carnotaurus closing in fast. He ducks into hiding just in time. After a while, the Carnotaurus goes to feed on Bruton's lifeless body. Seeing this, Aladar dashes off to catch up with the others. The next morning, Kron tells the herd it's time to move and climb the wall. The group is filled with doubt, unsure how they could possibly climb such a daunting obstacle. Aladar arrives and warns them about the nearby Carnotaurus. He urges them to follow him, promising a safer path to shelter. But Kron refuses to let the herd go with Aladar. When Aladar insists, Kron's anger explodes. He attacks Aladar, and a fierce fight breaks out between them. Just then, Nira steps in. She strikes Kron, saving Aladar. As they clash, Kron feels a deep sadness. His sister has chosen Aladar over him. In that moment, the entire herd turns away from Kron and follows Aladar instead. Suddenly, a terrifying roar fills the air, and fear sweeps through the herd. From a distance, the wild Carnotaurus appears. Every dinosaur freezes, panic spreading quickly. Kron shouts for everyone to run fast, but Aladar steps forward, saying they can't just flee. They must stand together. He begins making loud, fierce noises to scare the Carnotaurus. Nera joins in, their combined calls surrounding and trapping the predator. The wild Carnotaurus hesitates, then backs away, clearly unsettled. Meanwhile, Kron climbs the wall alone, but the Carnotaurus quickly follows him. Aladar and Nera race to catch up and help. As Kron tries to escape, the Carnotaurus chases him all the way up. At the top, Kron spots a narrow gap between the fake wall and the real one. Suddenly, he realizes Aladar was right all along. At that moment, the wild Carnotaurus traps Kron, and a fierce battle erupts between them. Just as the predator is about to kill Kron, Nera leaps in to attack. Aladar and others join her, fighting together against the beast. Though the wild Carnotaurus is stronger and knocks them down, Aladar keeps fighting with determination. As the dinosaur tries to pull Aladar down, the edge of the wall beneath him suddenly collapses. Aladar grabs the narrow gap between the fake wall and the real one, saving himself just in time. With that, the wild Carnotaurus falls, and they all realize it's finally defeated. Aladar and Nera rush to Kron, but sadly, he has died. Afterward, Aladar leads the herd to the sanctuary, a safe place far from danger. Time passes. Zini is shown with his life partner. Aladar and Nera watch as their eggs hatch, welcoming their first child. At last, all the dinosaurs live together in peace and love, safe after their long journey to escape danger.